All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. It's me and James today, and we are going to be talking about goal setting and 2021, the new year, new me, new sales, all that stuff.
If you listen to this podcast, you will make your first million within 3 years. I'm going to repeat that. You will make $1 million within 3 years of the first episode you listen to. We don't want pikers. We're not here to save the manatees. We're here to make podcasts. You really want this. You listen and review.
Put that coffee down.
All right, Jimmy Jam, first recording of a podcast in 2021.
And just to give preface, if the audio quality isn't too good, Matt's currently got stuck in Sydney with COVID restrictions and whatnot, so he's moving all of his stuff over, and we're still waiting to move into our office, so he's working out of a shared workspace, and the acoustics aren't amazing as yet. But
I just had to yell at them to turn the music off.
Yeah, if you can stick with us through it, I'm sure you get a lot of value out of today's one, and how you can take some goal setting stuff as a salesperson into the new year to really crush those goals and hit bigger commissions.
Exactly. So, I don't think I'm the best person to talk about goal setting.
Okay.
Because, you're always the one that helps me set my goals.
True. Well,
so I'll have you take the lead on what you think good goal setting is. For those of you who don't know, I'm just kind of a let's just go all the time. Everything is up always. And so I have a vision board at my house. Well, I haven't done it for 2021, but last year I had a vision board. And so I'm very outcome focused, but I don't necessarily set staged goals. I just I want a Rolex. And so I'm okay, I put that on my vision board, and then I'm okay, I have enough money to buy one now. I shall go buy one. That's pretty much how I work.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same way that I work. I don't do any of that segmental stuff, but it works really well for a lot of different people. And I think understanding what works well for you and what works well for others is really important to being able to set goals for them. But why don't we start? Maybe why don't you just tell us with some of your personal goals for this year and what you're working on? We usually when we set goals for our guys, we set them into main categories. One is development, two is health, and three is finances.
Yeah, I like to have a triangle effect, right? So if you can picture a triangle, then you can put an arrow, you can put a line from the point of that triangle straight down the middle, and that's kind of what you're focusing on. And the good thing about a triangle is it becomes like an arrowhead, right? And so you can always point that arrowhead in whatever direction you want, but it's going in a direction. So whenever I have my little, I draw a triangle, right? And then I might put wealth, health, and family or whatever, right? And those are my three, the triad of my three main goals for a quarter or a year. And then what I'll do is I'll the one at the top is the most important one. So that's where most of the focus goes, but I never let the other two go completely out of focus. But if I have a decision to make, and it's do I do this, which brings me closer to that goal, or do I do this, which brings me closer to that goal? As long as it doesn't take away from one of the goals, then I'll do the one that is of more focus to me. So last year was for sure, and this year is for sure all about kind of business growth. But in saying that, a lot of my goals are more personal because of the shift in situation, in terms of short term, because we are moving over from Perth back to Sydney. So I uprooted my entire family to go to across the entire nation. So for those of you listening in the US, it's the equivalent of moving from New York to LA. And now I'm moving back from LA to New York. Right. So I was there for about 18 months. It was great. I got a chance to spend time with my family because I haven't lived in the same city as my parents since I was 19 years old. And so I got a chance to spend more time with them, hang out with my nephews, see my family a bit more. Obviously, COVID kind of hit, and Perth was probably the best place in the world to be. There was literally never one case of community spread in the entire state. Not one, ever.
It's pretty strict laws though, right?
Yeah. It was
living in China.
Yeah, it was like living in China. But in terms of, it didn't really affect me at all because I work from home. So who cares, right? So yeah, so that was good. But now we're moving back because obviously we're Sales Snipers ramping up. We just taken an office. I'm in a shared office at the moment. So the office is about to start getting fit out soon. But yeah, so most of my personal goals are around I need to find a house for the family. It's awesome because we're in a position to be able to buy a super nice house, which is great. Thanks to all your hard work and all our hard work and everyone's hard work at the company. And Yeah, man. So it's pretty much all around like getting my family settled in, getting the office done, getting the house, and just making sure that we're in a really good position. And we set those financial goals when we redid all the bonus structures. I think those are good financial goals to hit, but I don't know if we want to go into specifics about how much we're going to get paid.
Nah,
Doesn't seem
probably
very
not.
couth.
For the guys, it's just a lot. Just picture that.
It's just a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Whatever you make out of zero.
well, depending on where you started in your career, maybe I had two.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, cool. So like my biggest focus right now is getting the office up. I put together a content calendar. So really ramping up the content, going to be doing at least 2 a week on YouTube. Like, so we'll do the podcast, like a lifestyle type vlog on YouTube, the weekly education videos on YouTube, and then also like a monthly, very in-depth YouTube video on a particular subject, which will take me the entire month to shoot, which is kind of cool. So it's going to be like a premise and then how we came to get to the premise and then interviews of people about that and how it affects them and where it comes out. Anyway, just a very, very in-depth, probably like 25-minute long video once a month, which is going to take up a lot of time. And then a few other things, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, so that's
some more video for closing code as well.
Yeah, more videos for closing code, podcast with Jeremy as well. So lots and lots and lots of things.
Yeah, nice. And we really push hard for goal setting with a lot of our guys in those 3 key areas. Obviously, depending on circumstances, we do.
So we really go hard on setting the personal goals for most of our guys. Now, I typically use those 3 pillars for our guys. Obviously, like with Matt, he has a family that would be different. So we add in different goals for different people depending on circumstances, whether that's relationship, family, socials, etc., etc. But mostly go on 3 main pillars. And the reason being is, as a company, you can really only grow as quick and as fast as the people's growth within that. And each of those goals work towards Sales Sniper hitting their goals. And our main goal for Sales Sniper is to become an 8-figure company by the end of the year, which is very doable. We've got the plan in place to achieve that. When our guys are hitting their targets, that allows us to do them. And the only way they hit their targets is if they have set goals in place. One, around their financials. So what we typically do is we set very heavy incentive and bonus structures for our guys. We pay very good commissions, and we help with a lot of and put in plans in place around the investing side of things for our guys. Depending on how much cash stores that they have, we'll hire investment people to work on those things long term, whether that's property, funds, et cetera, because we want, we know that salespeople, typically successful ones, get a lot of money and blow it. We've all seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Great with the money.
Not at all. So we try and help in that sense so that they can make better decisions for their future. Around their health, we hire an actual fitness coach or a health coach, and they work on a couple of things, whether that's, getting people in the best place from a health perspective, getting them in the best place from a physical perspective, so that they really are coming in every day confident, because we all know when you look good, you feel good, and you come onto those sales calls full of confidence when the mindset's in the right place, we're feeling good, we're healthy, and that really, really helps performance. So we invest in some health coaches for our guys. That's an opt-in thing. We're getting started next week with that. It's a new thing that we started for this year, because we really want those guys crushing it. And then in terms of our development goals, we set goals around, obviously our team training. We push people to outside training, whether that's around specifically sales, whether that's around management, whether that's around just leadership, et cetera, so that they can do a better job. We kind of do everything individually and recognize where people are lacking and what they need to get better at, or what they want to strengthen in their skill set to be able to do their job at the best. And we invest pretty heavily in that development so that everyone is crushing their job so that we can hit our ultimate targets as a company.
The guys also did a fair bit of investing in themselves. Like a lot of the guys signed up to Jeremy's program, even though like we are the sales guys for it. Like they put down their money. There's no discount either. Like we didn't offer a discount because it's like, I don't know, like I don't really believe in discounting for people, like for friends, for family, for anyone, because I feel like it just like lowers their perceived value, which means they don't really put as much into it. So it's in their best interest, I think, to pay full price for stuff as it is if you're selling to friends and family. Like never do an exchange of service. Just you pay me, I'll pay you.
Yeah, totally.
Also, I think one of the biggest goals that like that just kind of, I just remembered, I don't know why it blew my mind, was to get every single sales rep to a minimum $20,000 a month by the end of Q1.
Yep.
That's sort of like the big metric that, because like if we do that, literally everything else just falls in place.
Exactly.
So we're a salesperson focused organization. We're a sales organization first and foremost. We do have training and consulting and a bunch of other stuff. But like first and foremost is we are an organization that like does sales for people. We are salespeople. And the more successful our salespeople are, the more successful the company is. I mean, December was enormous. It was absolutely enormous. Like
Yep.
it was crazy. And if January's even better, it'll be even crazier. The guys will be making a lot of money. I mean, Bill came on, man, he crushed like so many deals. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so, you know, I think a lot of these guys are on their way. We're putting in a lot of development. We're doing a lot of training this year. So like for me, I'm pretty much stepping out of a quote unquote closing role. I've stepped out of that pretty much full time at the end of December or at the end of November. And the company grew, like, which was a thing because like there was a time where I was solely producing 80% of the company's revenue. And then it was 70% and 60% and 50% and 40%. And I was, you know, doing all the things that I do, plus trying to do 20 sales calls a week so I could sign 15 people or 16 people so I could make the company 15, 20 grand, 30 grand a week. And that was just absolutely fucking exhausting.
Yeah. Tough times.
So, yeah.
But we
Yeah,
didn't really have a team, you know, to come in and do all that
yeah.
stuff.
But to like step out of a sales role, me being like the head salesperson in the company, and for me to in the top producing salesperson in the company for a very long time, for me to step out and us make more money is amazing. I still made sales, don't get me wrong, but it was for us. So it wasn't a lot. You know, it was only like, you know, I think it was like 30 or 40 grand or something like that cash collected. It wasn't like a huge amount. Yeah, it was crazy. And I think that the more development we do with the guys and the better that we make them and the more money that they can make. And my focus is on making the guys more money. Actually interesting. I think you guys had that shift when we all had that meeting. I think was it in December, like beginning of December? And we were talking about different accounts that we want to take on. And I was like, no. Everyone said no. And I was like, no, we're taking on this account because it gets this person the best opportunity to make the income they want to make. And they're like, oh yeah, fuck, that's like
different perspective that we didn't look at.
Yeah. So it's like, that's a really important thing for me is like, how do we get these guys who are like trusting us to get them the accounts and the leads and the sales calls and then develop them into the people they need to do in exchange for a good percentage of their commissions. Like it's not like a job or I don't know, like a responsibility that I want to take lightly. And so a lot of our decisions are made not on like some other metrics, but it's the metric of like, does this make our salespeople more successful? And if I take on an account, can I look that person in the eye and go, okay, I think that you can provide for your family with this account? Because that's really like, if we can't say that, we can't take it on.
Yeah. And a lot of those financial goals are around, okay, how much money do you need to live, right, as a baseline? Then for some of your other goals, like you want to achieve this, you want to buy a house, you want to do that. What does an average weekly income look like for you to hit those bare minimums? And then what is the next goal for you to be super happy with hitting that? Then we can figure out, okay, based around these clients that you match and you're suitable to sell for, you will need, based on your close rates, so your average close rates, you're going to need this many opportunities per week. Okay. Can we physically give you that? Yes or no? All right. If the answer is yes, great. Let's do it. If the answer is no, it's like, okay, well, one, we either need to increase your close rate. We need to find you a higher account that's going to pay more commission. We need to get you some coaching clients. Or if you're closing at a high enough rate and your income goals aren't realistic with the amount of sales calls that you can take, then we need to find you more time, which could be getting someone on board to do your triages for you, getting someone on board to do your follow-ups for you. So you're solely closing. And then also look at some investment strategies to make up some of those cash with some passive income streams so that you can hit goals of X to get that.
Yeah. The biggest trap as well that salespeople fall into is making this guy all this money by selling for him. I should just do it myself. That's a fucking trap. People don't realize like how good they have it as sales reps. Like if you're a good sales rep, like all you have to do is one thing. That's it, right? Like you just got, make the sale and get paid. That's it. And so like, and I'm not talking about the guys working for us because we take away, 90% of what outside of what they have to do, which is like all the admin shit and tracking all that kind of stuff. But like the big trap is like, man, I'm making this guy like $300K a month. I should really get into coaching and I can do this. It's like, guys, like delivery sucks. It's one of the main reasons why like we're so restricted with how many sales coaching clients we put on and why the closing code is a relatively set and forget program. Like we provide a crazy amount of value, but like I'm not going to chase people up. Like if they want to come, they can come. If they don't, they don't. Like it is what it is. There's a lot of value. If you want to utilize it. But that's why we only charge, $50 a week.
Yeah.
But if I could easily charge $500 a week, but then it would be up to me to like, I then become responsible for that person taking action on their goals. And like, that's a level of delivery that I'm not willing to undertake unless the person pays a significant amount of money. And even then we only want to take on 15 to 20 people at any one time, because like the delivery just starts to blow out and it just starts to get annoying. And there are so many things that come into running like a coaching business that I don't think salespeople have any idea on the back end, and the complexity and the ad spend and the complexity of running a successful coaching business is immense. And I think it's a massive trap to just think like, oh, it's like, dude, if you're making 15% and all you have to do, if you're making 10% and all you have to do is get the person to sign up, like you're getting paid handsomely. Like you have literally, you set and forget, and then just don't get suckered into doing other stuff outside of that. Don't get suckered into, hey man, can you just help me out with this one mastermind and just do some sales coaching? It's like, because you realize that like that will end up being every mastermind. Now you have to do sales coaching, and then you're going to have clients reaching out to you asking, hey man, can you help me out with this? Can you help me out with that? Then you're going to say no, and the business owner is going to come back to you, oh, hey man, can you just help me out a little bit? And they're never going to offer to pay you ever. But you need to, if you want to do it, that's great, but demand to be paid for it. And you should demand to be paid like what you would make in that day if you were closing deals. So like I've had that conversation before, and I just said, all right, man, cool. I make $6,000 a week from you. That means I make around $1,250 a day, roughly $1,200 a day. So I was like, cool. You want me for 2 days? It's going to be $2,400, or I'm not doing it. For us, easy. Because like I'm missing out. I'm missing
out. You
work
work for me. You do what I say.
Yeah,
no, I'm a contractor.
No, I don't. Commission only.
I do sales.
I'm a sales guy. Booyah. I don't do shit without getting paid.
I'm not coming in to set up tables. That's not my fucking job. Pay someone. I make you enough money that you can hire someone to do that for you.
Yeah, I don't do. Yeah, that's a real trap, because the moment you say yes to it once, then they start treating you like an employee.
Yeah.
And the moment you start getting treated like an employee is the moment that you start hating what you do.
Yeah.
And I've had this conversation with so many sales guys, and I go, guys, you cannot say yes to things. You cannot. It's not that you're not a team player. It's just that you need to set an expectation. Yeah. If you're a commission only person, you only do things that give you commission.
Yeah. It's really setting a standard with that business owner, and you determine how people treat you, right? And the way you determine that is by setting the standards in the first place. It's like, I'll do this for you and I won't do this for you. If you want me to do this, then we need to come to a separate arrangement, because the moment that you allow someone to, let's not call it taking advantage, but getting more than what the agreement is, then that sets the standards and that becomes the new normal. So you need to control the norms and tell people what is appropriate and what isn't for your time. But if you love the company you work for, you love doing all these things, and you want to be the guy that does this, go for it. No, Josh.
The best was I got to use the Bane line on somebody once, and they said, oh, but I pay you like this much money a month. And I was like, and you think that gives you power over me?
I was born in the darkness.
I was born in the darkness. I got to use that one.
By it.
I told my friend, I was like, oh, you'll never guess what I just said. Anyway, that was amazing. But I think we're getting massively sidetracked. The goal of this podcast is goal setting.
Yeah. I guess I'll run through my goals and we can talk about sort of why, I suppose, and then maybe go into yours a bit more detail as to the why, or even possibly we'll see where it goes. I might say why we put those in place as to how that helps salespeople and why you should do these certain goals as a
salespeople are outcome driven, so they have to have a goal. You have to have something that you're working towards. Also, if you're someone, go back to that congruency frame, right? If you're someone that helps people achieve, take the action required to achieve the goal for a living, and you don't have any goals, like you don't have any concrete. It's like if you're a fitness trainer and you don't have any fitness goals, I don't know how you And your goal could be maintenance. That's fine. There's nothing problem with that. But you want to have something that you're working towards, whether it's a bigger squat or a bigger bench press, or you know what I mean, or whether it's making an extra 2K. It's important to have something to work towards. Don't set fucking outrageous goals either. Like, don't set like, oh, you know, I want to make $480,000 in commission this year. How much did you make last year? 27. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think Jordan Peterson said it best. Like, start off with cleaning your room.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can't clean your room, you shouldn't give anyone advice.
Make your bed, then clean your room.
Yeah, exactly. It like start small with integrated steps, and then you can work towards your ultimate goal. But if you're giving yourself an ultimate goal, you know, or like a year-end goal that is like only achievable in the best of best case scenarios in which you can't even realize at the moment, there's just no point. You can have that as like, I want to make $450,000 commission eventually, because like in the next 3 months, I want to make this, and then that, I want to make that. And then you need to work out like, well, okay, if I need to make $50,000 a quarter in commissions, what's my average commission value? Okay, let's say it's $1,000. Okay, so I need to make 50 sales a quarter. Okay, given my current close rate, let's say your current close rate is 50%. Go, okay, I need 100 sales calls. Go, okay, sweet. With what I've got now, can I realistically get 100 sales calls? If the answer is no, then you need to go, okay, so the biggest thing that I'm lacking at the moment is opportunity. So I need to, because you're not going to magically increase your close rate. Like, it's not going to happen. So if you're like, oh no, I closed at 32% last year and the year before that, but this year I'm going to close at 60. It's like, well, no, you're not. So you might get up to 60 by the end of the year, but you need to work off like known numbers. And if you get better than that, then you can reassess.
Maybe you can if you hit subscribe and jump closing code.
That's true. You'll probably get 105% closing rate by the end of the week.
60% of the time, we close every time.
It's true. It's true. That's like an offers made metric.
Yeah.
60% of the time, I close every time. That doesn't make any sense.
It's actually true. That's a perfect analogy for it.
It's the Sex Panther of closing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like you need to be realistic and then really set it back, work back the numbers, work off realistic numbers and go, okay, if I close at 50%, I need 100 sales calls. With the current like program that I'm in, how many sales calls can they reasonably generate? Well, over the last 3 months, they average 20 a month. Go, okay, so I know I can only get 60. They're not going to magically increase their ad spend or magically increase the amount of sales. Yeah. So go, okay, I have a stopgap of 40 calls a quarter that I have to get. Okay, so what's that? 40, let's just say 15 a month. That'll be really safe. Okay, I need to find an account that can give me 15 a month. Yep. Then you're actually putting yourself in a position. So if you go, okay, I'm going to give myself 1 month to find that, then I know that my goal for the end of that quarter is going to be this, because I'm going to be 10 calls short. So I know that best case scenario, I can close, if I close at 50, it's 45. So, okay, my goal should be 45. Like, otherwise you're going to get halfway. This is what always happens whenever you set a goal that's unrealistic, is you get at like the halfway point and you know you can't make it. And then you just fucking give up.
Yeah.
And that really messes with your psyche, and you're just like, I don't care anymore. You know, or you're going to try and do this tremendous push towards the back end, and then you're going to get commission breath because you haven't left yourself enough time. And then you're just going to end up coming off desperate, and you're not going to hit your goal because you just stink of commission breath.
Yeah, it's true. So I'll run through my personal goals and as why they're important to take on these for a salesperson and give a little bit of perspective. And I'll just use that triangle, like go into the main ones of finance, health, and development. Simple finance is, by the end of the year, purchase two investment properties for myself. Well, at least through personal cash, not through Sales Sniper. That's important because it works on long-term compound interest and compound money, and sets up long-term for future, so that we can be more risky and take larger moves.
Risk it to get the biscuit, baby.
Yeah. Development goal is just to, one, continue to become a better leader, right? The metric for that is super simple without going into detail, is have I developed our upper management level where their leadership is far better, and that's trickling down, I guess, the hierarchy of Sales Sniper. And 3, the health goal for me is really just to get some metabolic markers to better standards. So what I mean by that is, like, as Matt as well, and this is probably the biggest one, I think we've spoken about this on other podcasts, is getting health sorted for salespeople so that you can be congruent and turn up every day as the best version of yourself. And that really starts with health. Like for me, and Matt, I speak for you when I say this, we worked way too hard and put health on the back burner to grow this company through the initial stages. Now that we're in a position where we've trained people well enough to take a lot of our responsibilities and do that, we can invest more time back into that. However, we should have done a better job at that in the first place, right? If you're struggling with that, hire our coach, James Cant. I'll put his details in the description. He's excellent. So I was starting to develop like the symptoms for metabolic damage and just lack of sleep, high stress from working too many hours too long. And so my focus really with health is not to lose weight, although that is a byproduct. It's just to get back under control. And for me, my main ways that I'm doing that is my entire plan right now is all around cardio based stuff, a lot of breath work, a lot of meditation, a lot of cold water stuff as well, just to raise parasympathetic nervous system and get that back in order so that I can bring some of my biological markers back into place, increase testosterone,
For those
decrease
of you who don't know, James has got a degree.
few degrees
Yeah, in this stuff.
in a few things. But parasympathetic is just basically like you chill out. Sympathetic is when you're really amped and pumped up. So just becoming less stressed there. And the reason why shifting my goals there is because I need to do a lot of, I guess, sort of rebalancing after, years of going hard with business, working stupid hours and training
Just
like
party so
a maniac.
hard, man. When I was a baby, I was breastfeeding.
Yeah. So
That movie? Anyway.
I've realized with my coach, I need to take a massive step back. I've got so many niggles, so many injuries. And whenever I start to train hard, I recoup that and end up back in. For those that don't know, I used to be in a wheelchair. Funny story, I jumped off a bridge into water and got hit by a jet ski and that fucked me up. So I've got some nerve damage and whatnot. And it's hard to get back into hard training. So my process is to take a step back, do some rebuilding. When we get into the new office, I've already planned out, where I'm going to the gym, where I'm going to the physio, so that we can start that. That way I don't lose any momentum. And my goals is just to get that back on track so that we all know as the healthier we get, the more confident we are, we show up better every day, we lead better. And really getting that right is going to lead into taking those other goals and sales sniper goals to the next step forward. So as a sales guy, and it's the biggest common thing that we find is, guys get up and down, they get inconsistent because they don't have that shit together, and taking that step to get that right and really acknowledging what needs to be done and setting a plan for it is the best way. And if you can't get congruent with that in your own life, you can't get congruent on the sales call. So it's so important to hit maximal financial goals.
Yeah, but one of the best ways to get congruent is obviously sign up to the closing code. I mean, that's step one.
Step one. Yeah.
Step one, sign up to the closing code, get down there. If you don't, the congruency demons will get you. You won't close any deals. Guaranteed 105% close rate within the first week, or nothing happens really. But that's the guarantee. That's my guarantee to you, James. Anyway, but let's go over, let's wrap it up with what are some things that salespeople can do in order to some real takeaways. It's okay. And I want you guys, if you guys are in our Facebook group, okay, I want you guys to get into there. It's the closing code. That's our Facebook group. So we'll link it in the description. There'll be a YouTube description. It's pretty much everywhere. And I want you guys to kind of post this up, and I want you to go okay, what are your 3 goals? So figure out what your 3 pillars are. First of all, mine is health, wealth, and all that kind of health, wealth, and family.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got that. Those 3 goals are good to go. So what are your 3 pillars? And then what are your main goals?
Yeah.
And then what are you currently doing to make sure that you achieve each goal? Really, it's really, really simple. So pillar 1 could be, I want to make 20 grand a month commissions. I've invested in the closing code. Perfect. Pillar number 2 could be health. Yep. I've got myself a personal trainer. I want to get to 10% body fat. Yep. All right. Perfect, man. And pillar number 3 could be family. I've got date night booked out every single week with the wife. And I've also got individual one-on-one booked in with each kid to go to a park or whatever, right? To make sure that you get good one-on-one time. Because that is one thing for parents it's hard, is actually getting one-on-one time with your kids. If you've got 2 kids, I struggle to get one-on-one time with my kids. I get both of them at the same time, which is great, but then it just ends up being fucking hurting kittens. So one of my goals for them to sort of get that one-on-one time booked in with each of them so that I can grow the bonds with each individually. But I think that's really the best thing that you can do. You can email us that, throw it in the YouTube description, or you can go into the closing code, post it up there. And then that way, when you tell people what your goal is, you're way more accountable to actually making it happen.
And tag me in it, and I'll give you some feedback and see what I can do to help in terms of that. And if you don't have a clear picture on that, like sit down, spend the time, do your vision board, do your 3 pillars, figure out exactly what you want to achieve over the next 3 months, 12 months, and then how that pulls into your long-term goal of where you want your life to be if things could be perfect. Then from there, just reverse engineer and be like, okay, what do I need to do this quarter, this month, this week, this day to achieve that? And then make sure every day you're checking that off and moving forward in the right direction to make it happen.
And I think as well, one thing that's important to do, I feel, is what happens if you don't achieve it, and then put a time frame. Because without a time frame, a goal is just a dream. And I'm not in the business of selling dreams. I'm in the business of selling goals and sort of achieving goals. And so like put a time frame and then really have a think about like what happens if you don't. And I think that the way that you want to think about this is if you're a prospect and you're selling yourself into taking the action required. It's like what action needs to be taken to ensure that I hit this goal. Okay, well, I need to take this action. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that action. Now let's figure out what are the tangible outcomes. So like what happens if I achieve X? Let's use money as an example. Let's say I get 20K a month. What happens if I hit 20K a month? What would I do with that type of money coming in? Then the next is, okay, and how does that make me feel? So, okay, I want to hit 20K a month so I can afford to put my kids in private school. Let's say that, okay? What happens, okay, and why is that a good thing? Well, because my local schools are shit. I'm just using a random example. Go, okay, what happens if you don't do that? What happens if you continue to have your kids in the school in which you're not happy with? Yeah. Right? So like really, really sit down, have a think about the consequences of your inaction, the consequences of not achieving your goal, and make them catastrophic. Because people run towards an ice cream truck, but they don't run over broken glass. But people run with a high level of velocity and purpose when they're running out of a burning building. So you need to figure out what set your house on fire.
Yeah. And if you can't figure it out, get the matches out and light it yourself. Anyway, I don't think we'll probably go in too much more detail into that because we're not motivational speakers. We're not Tony Robbins, nor do we want to be. The way I see it is like, man the fuck up, set your goals, achieve them. If you can't do it,
or woman up.
Find a way to do it.
For our single female listener, Kyle.
We actually have a lot more.
About 4.
Yeah. So yeah, just
Kyle, Candace, shout out.
Yeah. If you fail your goals, fucking be a man, own up to it, and figure out a better way to do it next time. And
maybe you didn't set very good goals. Maybe you set goals that weren't meaningful to you, or maybe you set goals that were unachievable because you didn't really think about it properly. So have a look at the reasons. But I think
maybe you're just a pussy. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Could be it. Oh well, I think that's a good place to start. Oh, to stop, not stop.
All right. Well, you know how you can definitely not be a pussy. You sign up for the closing code. So $25 for your first week, people. Let's get amongst it. Get congruent. Get 105% close rate guaranteed. And yeah, and then make sure you join our Facebook group because I'm going to be doing one live exclusive in the Facebook group every single week because I did a poll and that was the overwhelming winner. That and send nudes. That was number 2. So I may do both. I might just do a nude live. Oh, that's a bit next level. A live nude. And yeah, and then make sure you check out all of our other channels and YouTube and all that kind of good stuff. But you know,
we'll bring back that monthly Q&A podcast episode because that seems to be the most liked episodes that we do. And from the feedback that we get, more people get a lot of value out of that specifically. So
absolutely, positively. All right, guys,
be in the
have a good day.
Group to answer and give us questions.
Exactly. All right, guys, have a good day. Thank you.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.